Now, Andrew, I listened to Medved on this topic last week sometime, and he said that he believes that the president won't let up, that he'll continue more executive orders, more outlandish statements, more threats of things that might not even happen that seem just overwhelming for those in the GOP. There's so much pressure from the grassroots for the GOP to do something about this out of control government and in particular this administration. But what's the right answer if he's doing all of this just so that there will be impeachment proceedings against him to evoke sympathy here?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, it cuts both ways, doesn't it, Gina? I mean, it's one of those things where the president gets his agenda and he essentially renders the opposition. Let's not even call it Republicans. Let's just call it the opposition. He renders it incompetent or impotent, or both. And the fact is that this republic only works when there is respect for not just the rule of law, but for the separation of powers doctrine and the roles, the constitutionally delegated roles that each branch plays. What Obama recognizes is that there's only so much short of impeachment that this administration or that the Republicans can do. And one of the things obviously that needs to be put back on the table, for instance, is the use of the inherent contempt power by Congress. That's this ability for the House to actually direct the arrest and detainment of government officials that flout the authority of Congress to engage in their constitutionally designated oversight responsibilities. Here's the irony. The irony is that nobody in Congress, nobody in the House is talking about impeachment. They are talking about trying to get the court to rein in the president's power. And on that score, there are progressives that support it, most notably my old friend Jonathan Turley at George Washington University. What we need to be doing, we as conservatives need to be doing, is building a case with progressives as to why concentrated power in the executive branch is to be feared, regardless of who is in power. Whether it is a Democrat like Barack Obama or a Republican like a John McCain. Either way, concentrated power is something to be feared.
Your advice would be stay the course, John Boehner, continue with this lawsuit regarding, of course, these executive orders, but just, fight the mantra that this is somehow necessarily steps to impeachment. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Well, there are a couple of things. It's number one. It's to go forward with this court case. Certainly, one of the things that Boehner has taken off the table and he needs to put back on the table is this role that Congress can play in actually going and arresting government officials that flout the legislative power of oversight. There is a potential electoral downside to that. On the other hand, there's the very real world policy importance of laying out those, restaking those legislative oversight powers. This president has gone around and thumbed his nose at Congress because he thinks that they're not going to do anything.
Right.
And short of impeachment, there's plenty of things that can be done. We're also advocating, and I'm putting together the material this week, we think that there ought to be a frank discussion about, and we're not ones who talk about constitutional amendments all the time, but something needs to happen with regards to the ability of Congress to challenge the unconstitutional efforts of Congress, of the White House.
All right. Well, people can find out more at the instituteforliberty.org. Thank you for being with us, Andrew Langer.